Welcome back, and it's still Good Morning Nigeria. We're on the home stretch of the program for today. Our second topic for conversation has to do with the Climate Change Summit tagged Cop26 in Glasgow, Scotland. With us in the studios is Dr. Yusuf Abdullahi Rigasa. Dr. Rigasa, of course, is an environmentalist. Pleasure to have you on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, what's been your reading of the Glasgow Summit? It's been a collection of world leaders. Some would say it's demonstrated their commitment to the issue of climate change. But some of the subtexts have been a bit worrisome.
Yeah, the reality is that looking at the beginning, when the issue of climate change, humanity realized the danger of climate change to the whole world, and looking at where we are today at Cop26, that means that this conference has happened, over time, 26 times. This is the 26th time. And that shows that at least we are on course. And when you look at the caliber of people that are in Glasgow, we realize that humanity has realized that there is nothing more important right now in front of humanity like climate change. We have already, having realized that this is a huge risk to humanity, our leaders, especially Nigeria, climate change is so important, at least to this particular administration, because the president himself, he didn't send a representative. He traveled to Glasgow himself. And it's not only the president, we have ministers, from the cabinet that are already there. We have a wide range of MDAs that are represented at the top management level. And we have, a series of NGOs, civil society, and even communities who are represented. So the delegation from Nigeria is impressive. And I think I must commend the initiative taken by the president, the minister, and other Nigerians that have taken the pains of going there and presenting our own case to the whole world. And we hope that whatever the president has presented to the audience in Glasgow, some of those ambitious, because they are highly ambitious, trying to be net zero emission by the year 2060 is highly ambitious. That even comes before India. And when you look at India, India is more populated, is far richer and wealthier than us. And if we are able to do that, I think it will be something very, very special for the country and for the whole world.
Well, I said something about some of the subtext that may be a bit unpleasant. It was acknowledged that at previous summits, the rich world had promised to fund aspects of activities that would, of course, deal with the negative effects of climate change. But the money is not coming fast enough and big enough on the table. So $100 billion was promised. I don't know how much is coming out. We can give the excuse of COVID-19, but it looks like we're not walking the talk. I mean, we have a gathering, fine, but are we really walking the talk? That's to say, if I say we, I mean the world leaders.
Yeah, but what I see certainly is that the developed world do recognizing that they are the biggest polluters. Just like you mentioned, they are not keen on funding most of these mitigation and adaptation projects, especially in the developing world. And probably the reason is because they have put certain conditions. This money is there, but then there are certain conditions that you have to meet before you are able to access some of this funding. And accessing, following that process requires competence, expertise, and real data. And acquiring this data sometimes is outside the realm of some of these developing countries. So we need to build competence. You can see in Nigeria we have a lot of experts, but we welcome partnership from the developed world to help us generate the data necessary, to help us with technology, as the president has mentioned, and then ultimately to bring in the necessary investment that will, drive this mitigation and adaptation projects. And you see so many of them, even at the federal level. And the participation of states and local government it didn't feature very well at this COP26, but we do hope that states and local government will feature prominently in the next conference of parties.
I'm just wondering, were you disappointed that the leaders of China and Russia were not at COP26?
everybody is disappointed. And I believe even some of their citizens must certainly be disappointed. If we have to fight climate change, we have to do it together. When Trump pulled the United States out of, Paris Agreement, everybody, every environmentalist, the whole world, we are all disappointed. Now we're happy that America is back, but sadly, Russia and China are developing a cold feet. So it's high time that we do realize that this is a game that we have to fight together. And I think they will come back at some point in time because climate change impact are not limited to only a few countries. It affects everybody. It affects even non-humans. They are impacted by climate change. So even if we have to collaborate with other beings, assuming we can communicate with plants and animals, we need to come together. We need to come together. It's not only humanity that is impacted. Plants are impacted. Animals are impacted. And even the non-living component of the earth, they are equally impacted. So there is no reason why anybody will start saying, okay, he doesn't want to participate, at his own level. Everybody, whether you are rich or poor, let's come together. Everybody has something to contribute. That is what conference is all about. It's a conference of parties. So everybody that is impacted is supposed to come, bring his idea. If you have money, bring money. If you have technology, bring technology. If you have knowledge that you or experience you want to share, bring it, and then let's share. And that is the way forward.
One of the key issues out of the summit has been the pledge to regreen the earth. Yeah. That's to say, plant trees, plant trees, plant trees, and plant more trees.
Yes.
Now, how well have we been doing in this regard? We've been struggling with the Great Green Wall.
Yes.
The president says that will be a reality. But beyond the Great Green Wall, other forests around the country are being denuded. What challenge does this pose to us especially, and how fully ready are we to take on this challenge?
Yeah, you see, deforestation is a multifaceted challenge, and you cannot address deforestation in isolation with, say, our demand for energy and fuel. Most of our people are poor. If you look at the poverty, especially in the developing world, is very high. And poor people tend to burn fuel wood and charcoal. So we need to provide alternative fuel and alternative source of energy for our population, especially for the rural poor. And that means that this source of energy has to be subsidized. And the president himself has made a case for that. At one point in time, the federal government was distributing, clean stoves and gas cylinders. But then gas is so costly these days, and probably we have to, appeal to the authorities to subsidize some of these renewable or cheaper, cleaner energies for the poor, so that at least the impact because we want to reach that net zero. We don't have to wait for 40 years to achieve net zero emission. The action must start from today. As soon as the president comes, yes, these are the options: alternative fuel, alternative energy. And planting of trees, that is the cheapest and the easiest solution, mitigation against climate change. Everybody must do his best. Plant as much trees as you can, because as you are planting, some people will be cutting. The trees we are cutting today were probably there before this generation. So we need to prepare, plant more trees for the next generation. And there has to be, a monitoring process to ensure that whatever tree you cut, somebody actually replaces it at least with the same, one plant, or even with more trees, because we have been endowed with arable land, and some of this land is fallow. We have land that is being encroached by desert, and the only way to recover these degraded lands is by planting more and more trees.
All right, Dr. Yusuf Abdullahi Rigasa, an environmentalist, would like to thank you for being with us. Of course, we'll have the opportunity of returning to this subject matter and dealing with it in greater detail. For today, we appreciate your being around.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go over now to the foreign scene and take some stories.